Perfect.
All right, everybody, what's going on? And welcome to today's edition of SWAC Talk, the show we cover the SWAC inside and out. This, of course, is a special edition show. I'm just going to go ahead and get to the point. You already know if you see a video coming out on a day that is not a typical day, that means something happened. There's been rumblings and rumors swirling for the last 24 hours. Pretty solid stuff coming around that Southern coach Eric Dooley will be let go today. That was the word I heard yesterday, but I wanted to sit on it till it was official, and now it's official. Southern University released a statement from athletic director Banks this afternoon, stating that Coach Dooley will be relieved of his duties. The statement basically says Eric Dooley has been relieved of his duties as head football coach at Southern University. This announcement comes from University Athletic Director Roman Banks Tuesday afternoon, November 14th. After a very thorough and continued evaluations of all components related to the Southern football program, I have recommended to President Chancellor Shields, Board of Supervisors Chairman Myron Lawson, and Athletic Chairman Attorney Des Moines Rutledge that a change in the leadership of the Jaguar of the program was necessary in order for Jaguar football to reach our full potential and expectations of our football program. Banks said, "We appreciate and thank Coach Dooley for his time here at Southern and wish him the best in his future endeavors." Our official said that Coach Terrence Graves, the assistant head coach, special teams coordinator, and linebackers coach, will serve as the interim coach in this time. So, like I said, there ain't a lot to really say other than Coach Graves can be the first coach to coach both teams in the Bayou Classic. He was the interim coach at Grambling a couple years ago, and now he's the interim coach at Southern for the Bayou Classic. So he has a chance to have two classic wins under his belt, one from each team and both in an interim capacity. So that's kind of something that can stand out to you. But this, if you've been following Southern University football this season, you know that this has been something that the fan base has been clamoring for. Honestly, most fans been clamoring for since like week 2. Me personally, I never was on the fire Coach Dooley train. I was always on the train of what's best for the team, especially early in the season. But as things started to go on throughout the season, my thought process started to change a little bit. Watching the team play the way they have been playing, some of the things that the team had been doing, the increase in penalties throughout the season, the lack of offensive production when your coach was supposed to be an offensive coach. Your offense is very lackluster. Put the defense in a lot of bad positions. So I knew that a change was possible. I never really thought Southern would pull the trigger, but the last 3 weeks really kind of summed up the season as a whole. So if you were gonna make that change, the time was now. You don't want to sit on it and wait till Bayou Classic, and then some kind of way he goes out and wins the Classic, in a good fashion, which is always possible. And then people get that Les Miles situation where LSU wanted to let Les Miles go, mess around and waited. He went and beat Texas A&M, and they kept him for 3 or 4 games in the next season. So you don't want that to happen. You want to get out in front of this now so you can get you a coach in place before the signing period, hopefully in December. So just this era will be marked by the lack of success at the quarterback position more than anything. 2 straight years, quarterback play was not there, and no changes ever were made. I mean, you had a ton of quarterbacks on the roster this season, and nobody ever really got another chance. And which I think is unfair to Harold Blood to keep him in those kind of situations when he was not playing well. You kind of made him the forefront of the brunt of a lot of people's frustrations, which I don't think that was necessary. I don't think Harold Blood's a bad quarterback. I think he's a guy who just, first year starting just didn't really have it. You know what I mean? I think he needed to have, somebody to spell him from time to time to kind of settle him down and see what, if he can make it happen. If he can't, then you go with somebody else. Like I said, you have like 6 quarterbacks on the roster and you only play this one guy. When you see your offense is regressing throughout the season, the offensive line play wasn't great. The lack of discipline on penalties throughout the season, just the same things over and over. So if you're an outside person, then you'll probably be like, man, they just went to the SWAC championship last year. Why do this? They 5-5. Why do this? Sometimes you have to make that change. And I'm going to close this video out on 2 points. My first point is kind of tangential to that. A lot of people spent the whole season, off season and this season, saying how Southern, backed their way into the championship. Now that Dooley's getting fired, everybody's like, oh, well, he led them to a championship game. You got to pick one side or the other. But, the team kind of made it last year because everybody else lost and they won that final game. So they never really grasped it and took it. This season, I think they had the best opportunity that any team could want, other than winning it in like week 7 or 8, like FAMU did, or like week 9 or whatever. You had all the games you needed to win right in front of you. There was you had no concerns about tiebreakers because everybody that you were even remotely close to in the standings, you were playing in the last 4 weeks. So you had a chance to run and beat everybody and, win it outright with no questions. And that is, I don't even think it's the fact that you lost those games, it's how you lost those games. Alcorn was just an ugly game. It was turnovers, penalties, just behavior that shouldn't have been there. Prairie View Dolphins just fell off a cliff in the second half and no adjustments were made. Guys even stated that, they didn't make any adjustments. Prairie View made adjustments and they couldn't make adjustments, which that's something you should never hear from a team. So I guess it was time. I guess like a lot of people who were pushing for this and don't get it twisted. This was not a spur of the moment hire. There were people who wanted Coach Dooley at Southern since 2018. I heard it with my own ears. I remember being at Prairie View in 2018 and people wanted to run Odoms off and bring him in. So this was not like, they hired him only because they beat only because Prairie View beat Southern in 2021 that Dooley got this job. He got this job because people had been pushing for him since the last couple of years of the Odoms regimen. So this was not something that happened in the spur of the moment as far as the hire, and it is something that I guess they felt like they couldn't continue with it the way that it was as far as maintaining the program. So we'll see what happens now. I'm gonna let this ride right now, and I'll probably pop back in later. I've been putting together a list of candidates that I would like to see. I've been working on that since like last night. So I have those those common names that most people have. Then I have a couple names that I would like to see, which are probably wish list type of names. But they are young, hungry coaches who deserve an opportunity if that's what they want. I shy away from the celebrity coach route, but I know a lot of people want to go there. So those are the names that you want, then that's all good. I'm not recycling no SWAC coaches. Maybe a guy who coached as an assistant in the SWAC, but not another head coach or anything like that. So that's gonna do it for this, man. I was just about to record another show anyway, so let me go ahead and get down on that and get this out for y'all. So again, Southern parts ways with head coach Eric Dooley. Only 2 seasons on the job. Just had no wins over a team with a winning record in his 2 years there. So that it just who knows where we'll go from there. But that's the news, and I'll catch y'all on our next show. So I'm gonna holler at y'all. Peace.